Janome.
Hi, I'm Kimberly Einmo, Janome's national spokesperson, and I'm back with a bonus project for the holiday open house. Today, we're going to be making fast and easy pet beds. That's right, I have a soft spot in my heart for all furry animals, and now is a great time to whip up some fast and easy pet beds and gift some to your local rescue or shelter. This time of year, they need those pet beds more than ever. And you can use up fabric that you have on hand, and it doesn't take long at all to make these beds. And you can be giving these to your local shelter or rescue to take care of those furry creatures that haven't found their forever homes yet. Now, this quick and easy pattern was shared with me by the Latort Quilters of Carlisle, Pennsylvania. Thank you very much for sharing it, and now I'm sharing it with all of you. This is perfect for beginners, and it takes almost no time at all. All you're going to need is some cotton fabric, whatever you happen to have on hand. I have these adorable prints, all cats, from Timeless Treasures, and you're going to need some scraps of fabric or some of that stuffing, that Poly-Fil. You're going to need your sewing machine with your A-foot and a regular straight stitch, and that's it. So why don't we get ready to jump in and make this fast and fun project to take care of your favorite furry animal. The first thing you need to do is cut a piece of fabric that measures 30 inches by 40 inches. Now, if you take it right off the bolt, it's already going to be 40 inches in width. And if it's a little more or a little less, that's just fine. But for a cat bed, you want it to be approximately 30 inches. If you're going to make a bed for dogs or larger dogs, you're going to want to make it 40 inches by 40 inches. But in the spirit of the holiday open house, which is a get one, give one, I'm gonna make one for Cheeto and give one to one of his buddies that is actually at the shelter. So what we're gonna do is take this piece of fabric that's already been cut 30 inches by 40 inches, and we are going to turn it right sides together. Now, it's very, very important that you leave the selvage edges intact. Don't cut them off. It will actually save you a step in sewing later. I really like that. The faster it can be, the better. And also, this is a great thing to do as a service project with your Quilt Bee or your Quilt Guild. Share this project with them and get them making pet beds to donate during this holiday season. So let's go ahead and take the fabric and fold it right sides together, aligning the cut edges and the selvage edges. So there'll be one side that has a fold. Now, once we do that, we're going to go ahead and just stitch using the A-foot. I don't really use a 1/4 inch here. I like to use the right edge of the A-foot, which makes it approximately between 3/8 and a 1/2 inch seam. It's okay to have a little wider seam here than if you're making quilts because we want the stability. These beds are meant to be used and washed frequently. So we do want to make sure when we start at the folded edge that we're going to backstitch a little bit and lock that in place so it doesn't pull out. So let's go ahead and stitch forward and then backwards. And keep on rolling and stitch all the way down. It's okay to turn the speed up a little bit and let it roll. Now, I'm sewing today on the Janome Continental M8 Professional. And boy, this machine can sew. It's got a powerful motor and sews at speeds up to 1,300 stitches per minute. When you get to the end, cut your threads. There, we have one side sewn. Now we're going to sew the other side. So this is a great beginner sewing project if you want to get your kiddos involved, or you want to help teach a neighbor or somebody how to sew, pet beds are a great way to do it because they're very forgiving and you don't have to be super precise. So go ahead and stitch the other side all the way down. Make sure to stop and align the edges when you need to, and keep on sewing. You know, you can whip one of these beds up in under 15 minutes, and so this makes a great project for when you're getting ready to head out the door. You've got some shopping to do, maybe some holiday shopping. Now that we're done, we're going to go ahead and we're going to clip the edges right here. We're going to make sure that we just clip at the corner where we started the seam on both sides. Just put a little clip in there. Then you're going to head over to the iron and turn this right side out, and I'm going to show you how to press it in an accordion fold so that we can add some more stitching to make the channels of our pet bed, and then we'll be ready to stuff it. Now that you've sewn your side seams, go ahead and turn your pillowcase essentially so that it's right sides out. So here are my selvage edges, which are still open, and I have a side seam, a folded side, this is my fold, and another side seam. Let's go ahead and press it so that they're flat with a hot iron. Now, if you're working with a young person or a child, be sure and give good supervision while working with your hot iron. But go ahead and press those side seams so that they're nice and flat on both sides. Let's do that together. All right, let's press those seams. Now the next step, you could use some sort of friction pen or fabric marker, or I like to just use my iron to create creases. What we're doing here is creating channels in our pet bed, because these pet beds are meant to be used and washed and laundered a lot. So by creating channels, it's easier to stuff, and it keeps all that stuffing or fiber fill from shifting during all that laundering. So what we do is we're going to take it and we're going to fold it in half, and it doesn't have to be exact, but we're going to fold it in half and give it a good press right in the middle because we want to create a crease. That's going to be our stitching line, is that fold line. Once you've done that, we're going to create an accordion fold. So I'm taking one part of the pillowcase lining or the pet bed lining, and I'm going to fold it back up to that center part, that center fold, and I'm going to press that and put a good crease in there. And then I'm going to flip it over and bring the other side seam up to the center fold and put a crease right there. That gives us channels of approximately 7 inches, especially when you're using a 30-inch piece of fabric. So now we have this accordion fold, as you can see, where I've creased the fabric, and now I know where to sew. So do that, and let's take our pet bed over to the sewing machine and sew our long channel seams so that we can get ready to stuff it and finish the pet bed. All right, I have 2 of these pet beds all pressed with my accordion folds, and they're ready to sew. I think I'm going to switch over to this holiday fabric and create a holiday bed. So now all we have to do is on the folds that we created in the last step, we're just going to sew straight seams. Now we're going to be sure and lock those stitches at the top and the bottom because we don't want those to pull out with a lot of use, which they're going to get a lot of use. So let's go ahead and start, and then reverse sew a little bit, and then just sew right down the folds. I'm using a 2.5 or 2.4 stitch length because we want a regular stitch length that, again, won't pull out and it's going to withstand a lot of washing. Here at the end, you can see that I still have my selvage edges intact because, believe me, this is going to save a step at the end. You're going to love this. So go ahead and continue sewing. You'll have 3 seams to sew. Go ahead and sew your seams right on those accordion folds, and then meet me back for stuffing our pet beds. Now that we've sewn our channels, it's time to stuff our pet beds. And this is a lot of fun, and you can get very creative with what you put in it. Mostly, I just like to use a fiber fill and just stuff it down in each of the channels. You can get the kiddos involved with this. It's a lot of fun. Or you can use chopped up scraps that you've cut up into smallish pieces, or even old undershirts or t-shirts, whatever you can find to stuff. But it should be absolutely fabric or material and not something plastic or something that could be harmful to pets. So go ahead and stuff your channels and then meet back for the last step. We're almost done. I told you it was fast, and once you get an assembly line going, you can make a lot more than 2 of these. So go ahead, stuff your channels, and we'll finish up. So go ahead and make sure to backstitch at the beginning and the end when you get started with this seam, and we're just stitching the selvage edges together. This is really easy, and it goes super fast, and I'm just stopping at the beginning of each new channel to align the edges so I can continue sewing. I don't know about you, but my cat Cheeto and I have plans to make a whole carload of these and donate them to our local shelter this holiday season. I've got lots of fabric and lots of Poly-Fil ready to go so that I can make a ton of these cat beds. I think I'm going to make some for our barking friends too, and make some for the dogs. All right, that's it. Your pet bed is done. That's how easy it is. And really, you can whip these up in no time at all. So go ahead and get that last seam sewn. And I have one more bonus tip for you that I can't wait to share. As promised, I have one last brilliant tip to share with you. This tip was shared with me years ago, and I've made good use of it ever since. I have another way to make a different kind of pet bed, and this is one that recycles all my leftover bits of fabric and scraps. All you need to do is take a clean waste paper basket or can and put it next to your machine. Now line it with an old pillowcase. And I know most of you have old pillowcases in the linen closet you haven't used for years. Or if you don't, you can certainly find pillowcases at garage sales, flea markets, estate sales. You get the idea. Take that old pillowcase and line your waste paper basket. Then, every time you're cutting or you're sewing and you have scraps, throw all those fabric bits inside your pillowcase, all right, until it gets full. When it's full, all you do is remove the pillowcase from the waste paper basket, just like this, and then all you're going to have to do is sew the pillowcase shut. That's it. And then you have another type of pet bed ready to go to the shelter. These are also great for kiddos that want to have something like a beanbag pillow or something. You can do that. There's lots of uses for this, but I really like donating these to my local shelter. And then I waste no scraps. They all get used, they all get recycled, and that is a really good thing. So we've had a lot of fun during this open house making pet beds. Hey, it's all about the furry friends, isn't it? Thank you so much for joining me for Janome's Holiday Open House. I can't wait to see you next time, and in the meantime, I hope you have a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.